here, and I'm about to do some drills with Charlie, the German Shepherd, here for 3 weeks. Overall, just for being out of control at home. Wild, crazy, barks a lot, gets way too excited when guests come in, and they just want more control over her. She's actually been here a week today, so today's the 7-day mark. So I decided I was going to start this week off with recapping everything she's learned last week. Recall with the tone. That means getting her to me. Sending her to a place bed, having her lay down and relax and stay there until released. Moving her from place bed to place bed. Recall, send, stay. And then of course recalling her just to me. In the midst of all this, we're also working on her eye contact. When I say her name, does she look up at me or does she start shuffling through her commands? We're working on all this, we're taking note on everything so we know what to work on in the 2 weeks we have with her coming up. So, I'm gonna start with the tone recall. She's currently out in the yard going potty. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna start tapping the tone. It's gonna beep by her ear. She understands that means come. So she's gonna come running through the doors and then I'm gonna immediately direct her to a place bed. So here we go. Tapping the tone. Here she comes running. Good girl. Place. Very nice. And she lays down. Good. That is a pattern that we've worked really hard on the past week. It seems really easy, but it's not. Simple, yes. Easy, no. Because teaching this tone on the e-collar and having them come to you, that's like a whole big lesson in itself. And then effortlessly being able to point to a bed, have her get on, lay down, and stay, that can be really difficult, especially for an almost 2-year-old dog who had never had to listen to anybody seriously prior to coming to this training. She sort of just did whatever she wanted. Ooh, good girl. But she's doing so well now. Let me get that sleep out of your eye. Okay, these are all patterns that we're creating. We're using them in drill form now, but when she goes home, her owners are going to be using it in a practical way. Recall, getting her in from the yard, sending her to a place bed, having her stay while things go on around her. These are all really practical things that everyday dog owners should be using at home. Good. Good girl. Okay. Now, let's introduce, and this is the first time you guys are seeing this, a really simple pattern of getting her from one bed to another by way of recall. So it's going to be the recall command, which is come, tapping my tone button on the e-collar. She's going to get moving. I'm going to say good girl, and I'm going to point to this place bed and say place. She gets on, she lays down, and she stays. What happens if she goes every which direction but this bed? You'll have to see. Who knows what she's going to do? So the first thing is I'm going to say her name, and I only expect her to look at me. I don't expect her to shoot forward. If she does, I'll correct that, put her back on, and then repeat. Charlie. Good. Come. Good girl. Place. Very good girl. Again, she's making this look easy, but it's really not. If you were to take your untrained dog at home and try to do this, I guarantee they'd be all over the place. She's making this look so easy because of the past week's work we've done with her and all of the foundational skills we've taught her. Good. We've also taught her that when she gets on the bed, it's an automatic down and relax. It's not a get on the bed and wait for release. Okay? We want her to get on there, relax, and know that she might be here a while. The other pattern that I like to use and teach owners to do at home is instead of a recall to place, just a send to place. So you're standing in front of the bed, not behind it. So I'm going to say her name, Charlie, no, good. I don't want her to hear her name and just start shooting off the bed. I want her to hear her name and look up at me. Charlie, good. Place. Very good girl. Me backing away like this, I'm doing that on purpose because it's a trigger for a lot of dogs to get on the bed and then immediately follow me back off. I want to make sure she knows to stay on the bed. And I love how she goes into an immediate double down. Josh just started working on that with her yesterday. And again, the double down is where her chin is down on the bed. She's a good girl. Very good girl. Okay, I'm going to do one more recall to place. And then I'm going to add a third place bet, and we're going to do some pointed fingers where she has to pick which one to go to. All right? See how eager she is to jump the gun? This is what we're trying to work on and make sure she knows to wait until I actually give her a command, okay? That was a click at a level 5. Clicks at that low of a number teach her relax, relax. This is why also I like to put a lot of space if I'm doing drills between each drill so she doesn't get used to immediately anticipating something else happening right away. Okay, I'm going to add a third bed. And this is where it gets really more difficult because she can't just guess which bed. She's got to look up at me, and I'm going to be giving her the answer with my finger, but she won't get the answer if she's not looking at me. Charlie, good. Place, good girl. Very nice, beautiful. I love everything about that. She looked up at me, she followed my finger, she went to the bed, she laid down, she feels great, her mind feels great. I love it. Charlie. Place. Very nice. I really have her attention. See how I'm backing off? And she was in between, should I follow her or should I lay down? And I was prepared that if she followed me, I was going to click on my e-collar and tell her no, place. Because remember, when they get on that bed, they're not allowed to get off until you release them or you give them another command. Good girl. Good girl. Charlie. Good. Down. Good. See how that click at that low level, it stops the panting and it brings her chin down. Very good girl. I'm going to try some recalls just to me, not a place bet. Again, a little more difficult because there's no landing pad. My expectation is that she comes to me and sits her down somewhere right in front of me. She can't come and then veer off again. Charlie, come. Good girl. Boom, right there, right at my feet. Very good job. She sits. I'm going to tell her to stay and walk away. She can lay down if she wants to. She just can't follow me. Stay. I like the hand signal. So if she were to follow me, I would say no, and I would click the e-collar. But she's choosing to stay in that sit stay, and I love it. Very good girl. Good girl. We worked really hard on that because her stay was really non-existent when she came. Lots of them will choose to lay down. I'm fine with that because, again, we're worried more about state of mind than body position. So to me, her state of mind looks so good that I care more about that than whether or not she's sitting. She's in a stationary command, and that's what I asked for, okay? Charlie, place. Good. So she picked the wrong bed, but easily remedied. That's what I care about most, is that, like, what do you do when you make a mistake and I give you a further direction? That's what I'm really concerned with, okay? I'm gonna put her on that place bed, and then I'm gonna bring out my 2 distraction dogs and see how she does with dogs going wild and crazy right in front of her. Charlie, place. Good girl. Very nice. Pressure's on. Place. Good. So I was watching her as I was leaving the room, thinking this is a really great setup. So when I leave the room, if she tries to follow me, pressure on, you made a mistake, go back to place. Now look at the mindset. She's likely not going to repeat the same mistake, and that's the most valuable part of this whole lesson. tested the boundary, gotten corrected for it, and being put back than if I had tried to keep her completely successful. What was so great about that moment was that it didn't really feel like a training session. I'm leaving the room, no one's in here. She's like, oh, maybe the rules don't apply. Well, she doesn't know that I'm watching her. It was all set up. Sparky. Notice the door is open. She stays on her place bed. Sparky. And I've got my 2 distraction dogs out. We're just teaching her, like, even if there's untrained, wild and crazy dogs out playing right in front of you, the rules still apply. So she has 2 dog housemates at home. So I want her owners to know, yes, she can be on the place bed and follow the rules while the other 2 dogs are out playing. Whoa, good girl. Good girl, Charlie. I'm going to let her know I really like that. Very nice. Good girl. Woo, my goodness. Now to make things really clear, I'll release her and let her know when you're released, then you can come play. Okay? Charlie, break. Good girl. Good girl. Now you can play. Hi, baby. What a good girl. Yes, you are. And then we need to go back. Charlie. Now she's looking at me. Place. And we go back on the bed. Good girl. That was a really great lesson for her. A couple of really good learning moments. So we'll let her soak on that. And then we'll repeat that and start adding on to it tomorrow, especially with her heel command.